You won't find many climbers in the Pacific Northwest without Forbidden Peak on their list. Stable rock, significant exposure, and a lack of non-technical routes contribute to this mountain's allure. Carved out by glaciers, Forbidden Peak is characterized by three nearly symmetrical, yet distinct ridges leading to the summit. The West Ridge, the North Ridge, and the East Ridge. The ridges are considered the easiest way of attaining the summit, but require multi-pitch climbing up to 5.6 on the west and north, and up to 5.8 on the east. The faces between the ridges are even more challenging and less often climbed. The West Ridge is the main route after having been made famous for its inclusion in 50 Classic Climbs of North America by Steve Roper and Alan Steck. First ascender Fred Beckey describes the West Ridge as, quote, pure joy and distinctly alpine, unquote, yet troubled by crowding problems. It is indeed the case that overcrowding is a significantly hazardous part of this climb, and if possible during summer months, the West Ridge should be reserved for weekday trips. For the trip, a light rack up to number 3 will suffice, along with a 60-meter rope and plenty of slings. Along the ridges, there are lots of rock horns to place slings for running belays to speed the ascent. Bring emergency bivy gear all the way to the summit. Delays should be expected, and many parties have had to bivouac on the ridge. The climb begins at the Boston Basin trailhead just below the trailhead for Cascade Pass. A well-established climber's trail leads up an abandoned mining road, over a few river crossings, and into the open meadows of Boston Basin. If you are lucky enough to reserve a camping permit for this site, you can break the trip into 2 leisurely days by camping here. We were not able to obtain permits and decided for an alpine start, single-day push, so we continued. Past the camp are the slabs, areas of rock eroded to a smooth quality by past glacial activity. These slabs are normally a straightforward part of the climb, but in wet conditions, they can become hazardous. After navigating through the slabs, we arrived at the glacier, which did in fact have some crevasses of significance. Roping up in the late season for this is not a bad idea. The late season climbs at this point take a different route than the early season climbs. When the snow ramp leading up to the West Ridge is intact, it will offer easy 45-degree snow climbing to attain the ridge. But usually in July this melts out. The next best option becomes cat scratch gullies, climbers left of the snow ramp. In my opinion, these gullies are the most hazardous part of the climb. Beware of loose rock knocked down by other climbers in this section. It is class 4 mostly for a few hundred feet, but delays from crowding can sometimes keep climbers in this dangerous section for an hour or more. Once on the West Ridge, the rock is significantly more stable. Sustained 4th class and low 5th class with a single bolted 5.6 move will get you to the summit. Simul climbing is a great way to speed things up here, and keeping to the north side of the ridge avoids some of the bottlenecks. The final maneuver is a short 15-foot down climb from the false summit and an exposed Class 3 traverse to the summit. The summit views are fantastic. The sustained exposure with drops of thousands of feet on all sides makes for a truly alpine experience. Yet with Forbidden, the descent is no simple or fast rappel down. To descend, downclimb most of the ridge, finding rappel anchors at the cruxes. Crowding can cause significant delays, and many parties have been forced to bivouac at the saddle in the West Ridge due to these delays. Weather is also a constant concern for Forbidden, being located in the western aspects of the Cascades. A poor weather window can make this descent a nightmare. All things considered, the West Ridge is a truly unique alpine climbing experience, and it lives up to its reputation for joyous climbing conditions. But one must be particularly cautious of the problems overcrowding has in its route. Climbing midweek, off-peak season, and utilizing the North Ridge are all great options for avoiding these potential problems.
Yeah, I felt comfortable enough. Yeah. So that